spend so much time thinking about what goes inside a notebook, don't we? You know, the paper, the lines, the usability. But
Definitely.
in today's market, it's just bursting with options. And the way a notebook finishes that first impression, how it feels, that can really make it stand out. And that's exactly where, well, die cutting comes in.
Absolutely. From the manufacturing perspective, which is, where our sources are coming from, die cutting isn't just some fancy add-on.
Right.
It's actually a really versatile production technique. It can fundamentally change both the design and how you actually use a custom notebook.
And that's what we're really digging into for you today. So if you're maybe a brand manager trying to create stationery that pops, or a designer wanting to push things creatively, or even, say, a procurement specialist trying to understand the value in these techniques, this deep dive is for you. Our mission here is pretty straightforward. We want to give you a solid grasp of what die cutting actually is, the clever ways it can boost notebook design, and honestly, why it's such a potential game changer for brands wanting something unique and useful.
Okay, so let's kick things off. What exactly is die cutting?
Well, basically, as our sources explain it, it's the process of cutting very specific shapes or designs or patterns into materials. Think paper, cardboard, even some lighter fabrics. The real magic, though, is the tool. It's a custom-shaped metal blade.
Like a cookie cutter almost.
Sort of, yeah. A bespoke stamp for cutting. This blade, they call it the die.
Right.
It gets fitted into a die cutting machine. This machine applies pressure, and boom, you get these clean, really consistent cuts every single time.
Okay.
You can actually find pictures online of these custom die blades. They can be pretty intricate. It's quite cool to see.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. So this isn't just like trimming the edges.
No.
It's very intentional cut, and it's dictated by this specific metal die.
That really makes sense then, how you can get those super detailed designs or, ensure every single notebook in a run of thousands looks identical.
Precisely.
Now, our sources mention different types of die cutting used in stationery. What are the main kinds we should know about?
Yeah, there are three main types that pop up a lot when we're talking notebooks. First off, there's full die cutting.
Okay.
Pretty much what it sounds like. The die cuts completely cleanly through the entire material.
All the way through.
All the way through. So you end up with a separate shape or design that's been removed. Think about notebook covers with actual cutout bits.
Yeah.
Maybe a window looking onto the first page.
Oh, neat.
Or maybe like an elaborate shape cut right out of the cover stock. Our sources even have some photos showing this, full die cutting on covers, so you can really picture it.
I get it. So the empty space, the cutout part, becomes a design element itself.
Exactly. It adds a whole other dimension.
Okay, that's cool. What's the second type?
The second one is partial die cutting. So in this case, the die only cuts part of the way through the material.
Right, not all the way.
Not all the way. It leaves the stuff underneath intact. And this is super useful for creating functional things that need to stay attached,
Yeah.
like tabs or flaps or little slots.
Okay, like integrated features?
Precisely. Our sources mention examples like built-in bookmarks or those little slots you sometimes see for sticking a business card in. There are pictures for this too, showing partial die cut patterns where you can clearly see the cut doesn't go right through.
So partial die cutting lets you make features that are still sort of anchored to the notebook. That makes perfect sense for, like, dividers you need to flip easily but don't want falling out.
Exactly.
And what was the third main type again?
The third key one is score and cut. This is a clever combo, really. It combines scoring first.
Scoring, like making a crease.
Yeah, exactly. A light indentation to guide a fold, and then it cuts. So this is crucial for anything that needs to fold really neatly and accurately. Think about those notebook covers that maybe fold out, to show extra info or have some extra function, or even unique greeting cards.
Right.
The score line gives you that crisp fold, and the cut lines define the actual shape. The images we looked at, like the one showing how die cutting makes a cover functional, that really shows the benefit here.
Okay, that makes sense. So full cut through for holes and shapes, partial cut for built-in bits, and score and cut for folding things.
You got it.
Okay, so we've got the how. But moving beyond the technical stuff, why is this such a big deal for notebook makers and maybe more importantly for the brands listening who want to make stationery that really connects? What are the core advantages here?
Well, there are some really significant benefits. Number one, customization and branding.
Okay.
Die cutting gives you this amazing ability to create truly bespoke designs. We're talking unique shapes that just grab your eye, or maybe really intricate patterns for elegance, or even functional things like tabs or those reveal windows. It lets you personalize to a degree that really sets a notebook apart. Yeah. Brands can use this to weave their logos or slogans or even like theme designs right into the notebook structure. It helps forge a really strong, unique identity. That example we saw, the cutout window showing the first page.
Yeah, I liked that one.
It's not just pretty, it instantly gives off a premium vibe, you know?
That's a great point. It's not just sticking a logo on top, is it? It's like building the brand into the physical object.
Exactly. It becomes integral.
Okay, so customization is huge. What's next?
Secondly, and this is really key, die cutting seriously boosts functionality.
Ah, right. Not just looks.
Not just looks at all, it's about making the notebook genuinely more useful. Think about tab dividers in a planner they make navigating so much easier, right? That directly improves how you use it.
Totally.
Or die-cut pockets built into the cover or pages. Super handy for stashing loose notes or cards. Our sources even showed how custom shapes can lead to, well, unexpected functions, like that notebook cover that could double as a phone stand.
Oh, yeah, that was clever.
Right. So these functional upgrades, they directly improve the user experience. They make the notebook a more versatile tool for, everyday life.
Functionality that's baked into the design itself that's really powerful. It's not just looking good, it's actually making the notebook better for you.
Exactly.
What about consistency? If you're making thousands, can die cutting keep things looking the same?
Oh, absolutely. Consistent and precise design is a huge plus for die cutting. Once that metal die is made, every single cut on every single notebook will be identical, perfectly aligned. Doesn't matter if you're doing a small run, say 100, or a massive run of, hundreds of thousands.
Wow.
The machines replicate it with amazing accuracy and that kind of precision. It's super important for brands that want that high-end image, that need everything to be uniform.
Yeah, I can see that. Unlike trying to do something complex by hand where you'd always get tiny variations,
Right.
die cutting gives you that guaranteed consistency. That's big for brand perception. Okay, and what's the last key advantage our sources pointed out?
The final big one is the professional and premium appeal it adds.
Ah, the wow factor.
Kind of, yeah. The clean lines, the intricate details, the visually interesting designs you can achieve with die cutting. They really bump up the perceived value of a notebook. When you apply it to covers especially, it can take something pretty standard and make it feel much more luxurious, more special, more bespoke.
Like those fancy edges.
Exactly. Like precisely cut embossed edges, or maybe unique shapes that aren't just rectangles, or those cool window designs we mentioned. These touches can make even a basic notebook feel like a really thoughtful, high-end item.
Okay, so it's clear die cutting is way more than just decoration. It adds real value customization, better function, consistency, and that premium feel.
Definitely.
So where are we actually seeing this in action? What are some concrete examples of how it's used on notebooks out there?
Well, our sources point to several key areas. We've mentioned notebook covers a few times. Yeah. But it's worth stressing just how flexible it is there. You can get those really unique shapes, maybe a cover cut, like a company logo silhouette.
Oh, interesting.
Or those windows that give you a peek inside, creating instant visual interest. And there's a trend, apparently, for foldable covers with die-cut accents, especially in higher-end journals. We saw that image, the foldable notebook cover. That shows it off nicely. Very sophisticated.
Yeah, those foldable ones with the subtle cuts do look really refined. What's another common place we'd see it?
Another really common, very practical use is for making tabbed dividers.
Ah, yes. Planners and organizers.
Exactly. If you've used a planner with those handy little tabs sticking out from the pages, chances are extremely high they were die cut. It's not just a standard way to make dividers that look good and work well, letting you flip easily between sections.
Yeah.
Whether it's for work stuff, personal notes, school, like in that tab dividers in 12-month planner picture.
Absolutely essential for staying organized. And when they're cleanly cut like that, it just feels better to use. Any other key applications?
Yeah, custom inserts and pockets are getting more popular too, and die cutting is key there.
Okay.
Notebooks with die-cut pockets, or maybe specially shaped slots. They give you a place to keep things like business cards or little notes, maybe even stickers.
Right, keeping everything together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It adds a lot of practicality, especially for, professionals or anyone who likes having one consolidated place for their bits and pieces.
Yeah.
That image showing die cutting is used on notebook pocket and stickers, illustrated that well.
Makes total sense, making the notebook more of an all-in-one tool for your day. And it's not just in the notebook, right? It's used for the packaging, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Packaging design's another big one. Die cutting is used loads for creating custom-shaped boxes or sleeves or wraps.
Ah. Oh,
These not only protect the notebook, but also really boost the brand visibility and just the whole presentation.
right, the unboxing experience.
Exactly. Imagine like a cutout window in the box that lets you see or even touch part of the notebook cover before you open it. That makes it way more engaging, more tactile right from the start.
So it even helps with that crucial first impression with the product itself. Very smart. Now, die cutting is just one way to finish a notebook. How does it stack up against other common techniques?
That's a good question. Our sources actually compare it specifically to embossing or debossing.
Okay, what's the difference there?
Well, the main difference is how they work. Die cutting, remember, is subtractive. You're physically removing material to make shapes or holes.
Right, cutting things out.
Whereas embossing and debossing, they're about adding texture and dimension to the surface. You're raising the design up, embossing, or pressing it down, debossing.
Ah, I see. So one cuts through, the other changes the surface.
Exactly. One shapes by removal, the other shapes by altering the existing surface.
Gotcha. Can you use them together?
You absolutely can.
Yep.
And that brings us to comparing it with, say, foil stamping.
Oh, yeah, the shiny stuff.
Right. Foil stamping is where you apply that thin metallic or colored foil using heat and pressure. Adds that pop of shine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can combine die cutting and foil stamping really effectively. Imagine die cutting a window in the cover,
Okay.
and then using foil stamping maybe right around the edge of that window to really draw attention to it.
Nice.
It creates this really rich, multi-layered, definitely premium look. So yeah, they can complement each other beautifully.
That's a great way to think about it. Die cutting gives you the structure, the shape, the dimension, and then things like embossing or foil can add extra detail within that structure.
Precisely.
So if someone listening is thinking, okay, maybe die cutting is for my next notebook project, what are the key things they need to think about when deciding how to use it?
Right. Good question. There are several important factors.
Hmm.
First up, material.
Yeah,
Always the material.
makes sense.
Die cutting works best on paper, cardboard, some lighter fabrics. You've got to make sure your chosen material can actually handle the process you want. Second, the complexity of your design. This really impacts the die itself. More intricate patterns, lots of fine details. That means a more complex and probably more expensive die.
Right, tiny fiddly cuts are harder to make.
Exactly. And that complexity can also affect how long production takes.
Okay, so material and design complexity. What else?
You also need to think carefully about your target audience.
Who's it for?
Yeah. Die-cut designs often appeal strongly to people looking for something unique, something high quality. Does that fit your brand? Does it fit who you're trying to sell to?
Good point.
And finally, the practicalities, cost and production time. Like any manufacturing choice, you've got to weigh these against the look and function you're aiming for.
So it's really a balancing act, isn't it? Between the creative idea, what's physically possible with the materials and the design, and knowing what your actual customers will appreciate and pay for.
That sums it up perfectly.
Well, this has been incredibly insightful, a real deep dive into die cutting. It's definitely clear it's much more than just cutting paper. It's a really powerful, pretty innovative tool for anyone making stationery.
Absolutely. It really gives notebook brands a fantastic way to create products that not only look amazing, but also offer real practical benefits. Whether that's using unique shapes to grab attention, or building in interactive features for better usability, or just adding those premium finishes that make it feel special. Die cutting lets brands really connect their products to their overall goals.
So as you listening, think about your next stationery project, maybe mull this over. How could one strategically place die-cut element, maybe transform what seems like an ordinary notebook into something truly memorable, something highly valued for you or your customers? What kind of unexpected functions or maybe unique brand statements could you unlock just by using this technique thoughtfully? Definitely something to explore.